I am running for president, and I want you to know my platform. I have carefully watched the lame and the halt who have declared themselves, and they are doing the same thing every candidate has done since Ronald Reagan. They are listing all the problems caused by globalization, and they promise to correct those problems, yet they never once mention the underlying cause of the problem. Since 1980, we've lost 60% of our manufacturing industry. The equivalent to 30% of our productive economy has gone overseas in 27 years. This is because the Reagan administration created tax laws, and later administration expanded those laws, which encouraged American manufacturers to take jobs to foreign countries. They buy up small companies, they fire Americans and move the jobs to Mexico, to China, to Indonesia. Then they import the products they manufacture in a foreign country into the United States, and they pay no import tariff at all. They take payment for the imports in a foreign bank, so they pay no taxes on the profits until they repatriate that money to the United States. This system encourages expansion in foreign countries. This system encourages them to use the money to build new factories in China. The United States is languishing. The present tax laws are a conspiracy against anyone who wants to live and work in the United States. The candidates running for president cannot be trusted. I have waited months, and none of them have said, let's bring the manufacturing sector back to the United States. Let's do something to employ the 73% of Americans who cannot go to college, who are underpaid, underemployed. That's the one thing they have not said, and it is the one thing that will solve all the other problems that beset us. Those candidates have listed all the problems caused by the loss of 60% of our manufacturing sector, never mentioning that we have become a service sector with no one to serve. 80 million Americans are in debt. They want to fix that. Hospitals put sick people in a taxi and drop them off in a park. They want to fix that. Girls get pregnant and then they get an abortion, not because they are possessed by Satan, but because the cheapest hospital birth in the country puts the girl $10,000 in debt, and we don't have subsidized daycare like every other civilized nation that expects its women to work. Since the mid-1960s, half of all marriages have ended in divorce within 5 to 7 years, meaning we have 150 million adults, half the population, who got married, argued about money, got divorced, and do not consider marriage an experience worthy of repetition. The war in Iraq drags on, and none of the candidates for president has revealed any knowledge of the reason for lack of success. Bush and Cheney are bad leaders. Let me tell you a simple thing about human nature. The employee you want is the employee who argues with you. You want to promote and reward the obstinate SOB who says, "Sir, you can't do it that way. It's bad for the country." When you hear those words, your job as president is to invite the SOB into the Oval Office, close the door and say, "Why do you say that?" The only way you'll ever find out is to ask. But Bush and Cheney and Rumsfeld fired generals and civilians in the Pentagon. They fired CIA agents. They destroyed the career of Valerie Plame. They booted out people from the National Security Agency. They fired lawyers who didn't indict Democrats. Some of the people they fired were long-term experts on Muslim terrorists, experts on Iraq, experts on bin Laden. They were fired because they disagreed with an insecure and an incompetent president. The result of that kind of firings is always the same. You convert everybody into a yes man. Here's the rumor that goes around. Don't try to help these idiots. They'll fire you. Just find out what they want you to say and make your head go yes. We can still save Iraq, but we need a new president. Bush and Cheney have lost the trust of every thinking general because they fired people who disagreed with them. That killed off their own access to good information because no one knows how to educate them in a way that he won't be fired. This puts them in the position of having to originate new strategy. And if Bush knew the first thing about strategy, our GIs would not be repeating the failed search and seizure tactics of Vietnam in a Muslim country. We face another year of increasing casualties, and no candidate for president has proposed any remedy to the situation except retreat. Our economy is unbalanced. We've lost the respect of the world. We have become dependent upon our enemy for oil. A full retreat at the present time will damage our economy. Here is a strategy which will be more successful. We occupy and defend the 3 Kurdish provinces. We support the Iraqi government in negotiations with the tribes of Anbar and Muqtada al-Sadr, and we respond to specific requests of the Iraqi government when they find a target they need us to attack. No more aimless patrols, no more kicking indoors, and this is something we can accomplish with a greatly reduced force. So the exhausted reserve and National Guard units and regiments and brigades who have spent more than a year in country can come home. Meanwhile, we will recruit all the convicted drug dealers in the United States and lower the cost of military support services by using soldier manpower to cook, clean, maintain vehicles, and handle logistics. In the United States, we will revise our tax codes to encourage divestment rather than acquisition. We will encourage buyers groups of local investors and managers to buy small companies from big corporations. And we will revise our tax codes to encourage manufacturing inside the United States rather than outside of it. We will charge a tariff on all imported consumer products and subassemblies, encouraging investors to, at long last, rebuild our manufacturing sector. And when our manufacturing sector is hiring Americans with a high school diploma, perhaps our starving and struggling service sector will at long last have some customers to serve. There will be competition for labor at long last. Wages will increase. As companies compete for qualified employees, medical and dental coverage will be offered again. Pensions may reappear. And as local investment and management groups buy and maintain smaller pieces of the present oversized corporations, local managers will have more personal contact with their workers, meaning a fully involved management team will be on site to solve the problems of the business and better coordinate resources, producing better products. We will have built the most modern and integrated manufacturing sector in the world, ready to compete with any nation or continent, and we will rewrite the charter of EPA so that it becomes a support organization to manufacturing and not an attack dog. As to taxes, the tax code will always be governed by one principle: everyone pays a maximum fair share. Every person in coordination should pay an income tax of at least 5% of gross earnings. No matter where the earnings are received or how they are accumulated, no deductions will be applicable to the 5% tax. And the Department of Commerce will be saddled with a new responsibility to teach responsible management, ethics, and leadership to a growing population of business owners and managers. With stable, steady jobs offering medical coverage and partially paid childbirth leave, more girls will allow their children to be born alive. More Americans will pay off their enormous credit card debts. Hospitals serving more clients with fully paid coverage might be more willing to take in the occasional Medicaid or uninsured patient. With stable and steady jobs they can count on, more men will be willing to take on the responsibilities of husband and father, and when the paycheck clears every 2 weeks, arguments about money will concentrate on where to spend it, not where in hell to get it. And this means there will be more customers, both for manufacturers and for service sector business. I'm Quixote. I'm your candidate for president, and you can help me. Someone send me the name of the political consultant who managed the campaign of Jesse Ventura, the governor of Minnesota. You can post it on YouTube. I'm tired of watching my country in an economic tailspin.